Well, good evening, and welcome to the library and Friday Night Ghost Stories. I suspect we'll have a light crowd tonight because it is Friday of Memorial Day weekend. So I fully understand that and kind of think this will be a replay crowd. Majority of the people will see it on replay, which is fine. But I am here and live, and let's get into it with our usual intro. All right. Let's get this off the screen. There we go. And before I get into this, I'm looking for my co-host and he's not here. Where is he? Where is my co-host? Lenny. Sleeping on the job. All right. That's better. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Friday Night Ghost Stories. And tonight, we will be going back to Cape May for part 2 of my accounting of ghosts and haunted houses, or haunted homes, or haunted buildings, whatever you want to call them, in Cape May, New Jersey. Lenny is here, as you can see. But we can't do anything unless we light our candles. So let's do that. These matchsticks are especially for Gerard, because he told me I should use matchsticks instead of a lighter. So, you got it, Gerard. There you have it. Now let's turn out that light. There we go. That's what we need. Excellent. All right. So, let me first say hello to those that have graced me with their presence this evening. Hello, Arm Distance. Hello, Gianni. Hello, Gina. Hello, Spirit. Hello, Adam. Hello, Tommy Stiggs. Hello, Paul C. Good to see you. Godfather Sports is in the house. Great to see you. Thank you, guys. I think I hit everybody that has commented. I haven't seen anyone else. All right. There you go. All right. So, if you saw the first episode of Cape May Ghost Stories a few weeks ago, and you can always go back and see it if you haven't, but I went over 6 specific hauntings or haunted houses in Cape May. Now I have another 5 for you, and that is not even all of them, because I tried to weed out some of the more duller stories. These are the ones that interested me, I guess. So that's how I chose them. But there's more. Now, just in case you want to know where these stories come from, most of these stories come from a guy by the name of Craig McManus, who put together an anthology of ghost stories regarding Cape May. He is a psychic or medium, whatever you want to call him, and he went there and did a tour of Cape May, went to all of these specific places, and wrote it all down, put it in a book form. So that's where most of these are coming from. So let's get started. Now, our first place we're going to talk about is, I believe, a location that Tommy Stiggs actually stayed at. It's called the Southern Mansion. Now, let me show you what this looks like, if I can. There you have it. That is what is called the Southern Mansion. And as you can see why it's called the Southern Mansion, it looks very Southern, right? It looks like something out of the Old South. Beautiful architecture, of course. And obviously, a very old building built in 1850. As you can see, the various chimneys, that's always a hint. When you see multiple chimneys like that, that means the building is probably from the 19th century, because that was the source of heat, right? You had to have multiple chimneys for different rooms in the house. All right, so there's our location. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, the Southern Mansion was built by the name of an individual by the name of George Allen. And like I said, in 1850. He was a Philadelphia merchant and wanted a summer home. He bought 10 acres out there on the island and built his dream home, so to speak. Now, currently, this is used for people stay there, obviously, but it's also used for events. As you can see, it's beautiful architecture. So it's used for events. Why don't I try keeping it up there if I can? I don't know where I put it. There we go. Let's see. Let me see something here. Let's see if I can do this. No, that didn't work. There we go. There we go. That'll work. So, like I said, it was built by a man by the name of George Allen. And the ghost activity in this particular place seems to happen on the 3rd floor, and it's mainly in room number 9. That's what they say. That's where most people encounter ghost activity. Now, the ghost activity that they commonly encounter is an inexplicable scent of roses that comes out of nowhere. There's no air freshener, there are no roses in the room, but suddenly a smell of roses will take over the room, which means that a spirit is there. And also, the windows, the wind will blow in blow in as if the windows are open, but the windows are not open. So there's an inexplainable wind that will come in with at the same time as the roses smell comes in. Now, that's on the third floor, and particularly in that room, and it's thought to be haunted by a woman by the name of Esther Mercure, who is the niece of George Allen, and is said to have died in the building in the house in the late 1800s. Now, the other stuff that goes on in this mansion, because that's what it is, right? The Southern Mansion, is a lot of activity that takes place with people that are having events there. So if there's a wedding happening there, or some type of any type of major event, a wedding, shower, graduation party, anything like that, there'll be a lot of people serving drinks, serving food, and in the course of this, what will happen is the ghost activity will heighten, and some of the things that will actually happen, and people have said happen, is wine glasses filled with wine will explode while they're being carried by the waiter or waitress, which to me is very scary, a very scary experience if a wine glass explodes like that and the wine shoots everywhere without any apparent reason why it happened. Now, the chef that works there has reported an instance where he was making a cake in the kitchen area late one evening in preparation for the next day's events, and he's mixing a cake, mixing it, and suddenly out of the center of the mixture, green colored ooze began to bubble up out of the cake bowl. So he's mixing it along, and suddenly up comes this green ooze. Now, he swears there was no green dye in the building, in the kitchen, so he couldn't have made an accident and like bubbled, tipped some green food coloring in there. There's no explanation that he has for this happening. Just this green bubbling that happened in the middle of this cake, making of this cake. And a lot of people say that the activity, if you're staying there, a lot of the activity will take place at 3:05 specifically in the morning. Now, what the significance is of that, I do not know. I couldn't find anything. If that was the time when Esther passed away, I don't know. There's no record of that. They didn't keep records like that, I guess, at that time. But you have Esther, who has made a permanent home in their afterlife in the mansion of her uncle, and spends a lot of time playing tricks, I guess, on those who are having events there by smashing glasses, knocking stuff over, knocking trays over in the process of the event. Maybe she's unhappy that people were having events in her house. Who knows? But that seems to be the recurring ghostly activity at the Southern Mansion. So again, not a big scary type of thing. And like I said before, most of these, and I said this in the past episode, most of the Cape May ghosts are not scary ghosts. They're friendly, they're friendly, uh, they're pleasant. They're not out to scare people or out to frighten and horrify people. In this case, Esther might be a little bit touchy with knocking over those glasses and exploding them, but for the most part, doesn't really harm anyone or tries to harm anyone. So the Southern Mansion, that's our first one. That's, by the way, and that's located on the corner of Washington and Franklin in Cape May. All right, let's go on to our next location. Oh, in the meantime, let me say hello to Octavia. Hello to Bobo. Hello to Cinnamon Girl. Good to see you. Did I miss anybody else? Thank you guys for joining, as always. Oh, I said hello to Arm Distance before. All right. All right, so let's get rid of this, and let's go on to our next one. Our next one is the Inn of Cape May. The Inn of Cape May is located on Beach and Ocean Streets, and this particular building was built in 1895. Now, let me see where it is. I gotta show you this one because this is really a miraculous looking building. Fantastic architecture. To build something like this in this day and age would be, you know, millions and millions and millions. I don't even know if they could do it anymore. So hold on. Here we go. Let's take a look at what the inn at Cape May looks like. Let's go. Let's put that on a full screen first. As you can see, it's pretty darn large. Wonderful steeples up on the top. Actually four, 5 floors. But most of the rooms that are, the rooms that are sold out or rented out or inhabited are the second, third, fourth, the second, third, and fourth floor. The first floor is a lobby and other events that go on in the course of the building. All right. Let's go back to, there we go. All right. So what happens at the Cape May Inn, or the Inn of Cape May, I should say, the Inn of Cape May? Like I said, built in 1895. Now, most of the ghostly activity in this house happens on the fourth floor. And I've noticed through these stories that it's usually the higher the floor of the building seems to be where the ghosts seem to set up camp. And I don't know why that is, but that seems to be a common thread amongst these stories, that the ghosts are in the higher levels of the structure, and in the basement too, but the higher levels of the structure where they seem to hang out the most. All right. Now, the creepy thing about this particular building is that people have reported instances where they're taking a shower and then they're washing their hair, whatever, not paying attention, wash off the soap out of their eyes, look up, and there's a woman standing there looking at them, watching them take a shower. That would really scare the pants off of me. I'll tell you that would knock me off my feet probably if that happened. And it said that the woman is just staring and then vanishes. So it's clearly a spirit. It's not. No one ever thinks that it's an actual person. But it's clearly a spirit that's sitting there staring at you while you're taking a shower. Very, very scary, creepy type of situation there. Now, who is this woman? No one really knows. They call her the Lady in Blue because she's wearing a blue dress often. They see her in wearing a blue 19th century type of dress, long blue dress. And in addition to this, there's also the doors out. The doors are in, each door has a number on it, right? The numbers of the rooms. When you go to an old bed and breakfast or a hotel, you're in room 23, you're in room 34, and usually the 3 or the 2 stands for the floor. 23 is the second floor, 34 is the third floor, 55 is the fifth floor. You get it. Well, supposedly, what happens is the numbers on these doors change. Inexplicably change. They change completely. In other words, the numbers where room 23 is one day will be room 27. So there's a lot of confusion with where rooms are. Now, the changes usually don't happen when people are in the room. So you don't have people who are going into a room, not going into a wrong room and someone's already in there. It usually happens when it vacates, when the people vacate and the new people are coming in. The numbers on the doors will switch. Now, that's fascinating to me that something like that could happen. And they have to keep on top of it, because what they'll do is the hotel staff will go and manually change the numbers. But it's fascinating to me that something like that could happen. Now, also, on this, let's see, here we go. Let me make this large again so you could see it for a second here. On this balcony over here, it is said, even on here, the second floor balcony, and also on the first floor balcony or porch here, there's said to be an old woman that rocks in a rocking chair. Now, the rocking chair is often spiritual itself. So, in other words, the entire image is the woman and the ghost. The ghost and the chair itself are both spiritual as it rocks back and forth. So there's no rocking chairs there. So a lot of times guests will come in to the desk and say, we saw an old woman out there rocking in a wheelchair, and they're in a rocking chair, and there is no rocking chair. The staff will say, well, we don't have any rocking chairs on the porch. So whatever this is, it's probably residual. It's probably a residual ghost of something in the past there used to be something there that rocked, some type of rocking chair that was there that is now gone. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, there's also a third type of ghost. It's a boy dressed like a kid of the 1940s. And it is believed that he may have drowned in the ocean. But he's seen walking up and down the stairs, and he is so realistic that people think he's an actual boy. Not that he's a ghost, that he's an actual boy, but just dressed in kind of odd clothing, dressed in clothing of a boy from a young boy from the 1940s. So many people have seen him walking up and down the stairs, looking at them, interacting with them, and then he'll vanish and disappear. So a fascinating type of situation there. And then, of course, there's the usual steps across the floor of the lobby, footsteps, as if footprints will happen without anyone there. You'll see wet footprints, as if someone came in with wet shoes, but no one has come by. So fascinating stuff, probably just residual stuff for all the activity that's gone on there over the years, people coming in and out, wet from the ocean, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the Inn at Cape May at Beach and Ocean Street. There's one more thing about this particular location I wanted to mention. On the third floor, there's people that have seen children playing ball in the hallway at 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 girls playing ball at 2 a.m. in the morning and complaining to the office staff saying, some of these kids are out there playing ball. It's 2 a.m. We want to go to sleep. And every time it's investigated, there are no kids playing in the hallway. So 2 girls playing ball. Interesting. All right, let's go on to the third location. The third location is a place that was called originally the Cotton Club, and I think presently it's a lingerie shop, lace and lingerie or something like that. Oh, here it is. Okay, let me show you what this looks like. All right. There we go. All right. Storefront. Quaint storefront. And that's part of the pedestrian mall in Cape May. They have a lot of these old, quaint shops that line that street. And Washington Street, that is. It's Washington Street is where the pedestrian mall is. People walking up and down, window shopping, much like in the old days. It's quite a quaint area. It's beautiful to look at. Now, this place was originally called the Cotton Club. Now, before that, right now it's a lingerie shop, whatever. But at the time, it was a pharmacy for a very long time, from the 1800s. Now, the pharmacy had instances that happened there that ended up with a few ghosts. Now, and actually it was a pharmacy until 2001. Actually, 2001 was a pharmacy until that time. So a long time. 1876 was when it was built. Marcy's and Mercray's Pharmacy is what it was called. Now, several ghosts have been spotted in this particular location, or a couple of both. Let's say a couple of ghosts. Let's put it that way. Now, the first one is an individual they call George. They call the ghost George, and he's a bit of a prankster himself. And the owner of this establishment says that at times light bulbs will smash for no reason. She'll go close up shop for the night, come back in the morning, and light bulbs will be smashed. And they attribute this to George, the resident ghost there, who is a boy. It's an older boy, like someone in his late teens, that seems to have taken up residency there. At one particular time, there was a red spot that appeared of paint on the floor, and there was no paint in the building. A red spot just appeared in the middle of the floor in the basement. That particular thing was in the basement. Now, the other ghost that's there is a boy about 10 or 11 years old by the name of Albert. And it's said that he didn't die there, but at the time that he died, this was a pharmacy. So at the point he died, he went there hoping, not knowing that he had died, hoping to get aid from the pharmacy, hoping to get a cure from the pharmacy. He said he had an ear infection, and the ear infection ended up being his demise, the reason for his demise. But it is said that he spends a lot of time in this building because he sought help there. And he's become very attached to the owner of the establishment, who is an older woman. And he, being a boy without a parent, but not a parent, is looking for a mother figure and is kind of attached to her, and does very kind things to help her. Um, Unexplainable again, not any logical explanation for things, but things will be things that are messy will suddenly, be found folded and to put back together the next day when no one was there, you know, or the floor will be swept. Things like that will happen in this establishment without an explanation. So, and they think it's this young boy Albert. Now Albert has a younger girl with him, so there's two children ghosts, I should say. And the story goes that he told this medium. So this medium was in the store and was communicating with Albert, and Albert told him that he had another ghost with him, a little girl who was hiding behind him and, would hang on to him. And he said that he found her in the street. So, in other words, she was a ghost that was lost, a child that died in the street somewhere. He found her and brought her back with him. And they spend a lot of time there. And he treats her like it's his younger sister, because she, again, a child without. A little heartfelt story there, and the how he, they're attached to the owner of this place and try to help her where they can. So a kind of good story, good ghost story there. Positive ghost story. All right. So that's the lingerie shop. And it was prior to that, it was called the Cotton Company, which was a clothing store. All right, let's go on to number 4. This one is probably the most interesting. So you're going to want to pay attention to this one. All right, let's go. Let's share our screen. What are we looking for here? All right. The Peter Shields Inn. Now, get a load of this particular place. Interesting, right? Interesting looking, right on the beach, right on the eastern side of Cape May. So the Atlantic Ocean is right there. It's on the Atlantic side. Well, it's still the Atlantic Ocean, both sides, but the hardcore east, the hardcore part. This was built in the mid 1700s, and things have been added on to it over the years, but it's one of the oldest buildings in Cape May. And its actual address is 1301 Beach Avenue. So, a fascinating structure, as you can see, very beautiful. My guess is the front part with the pillars were first, and then these other domed areas and peaks, excuse me, were added on in the Victorian era. But that's just my guess because it has, in the building has been added on to over the years. All right, now let's talk about it because this one's fascinating. Now, the Peter Shields Inn. The story goes that in the mid 1700s. Oh, I'm sorry. This wasn't built in mid 1700s. The story goes. The story it starts in the 1700s. Um, this was built later. This was built in the late, like the turn of the 1800s. So like the early 1800s. But there was activity. The story begins in the mid 1700s. So at that time, there were a lot of pirate activity in this area. The eastern side was not really inhabited. So there were a lot of buccaneers, piraters, privateers, those type of folks hanging around there looking to pillage ships and such. Now, it is said that at one point in time, there was a ship being brought to America. A ship's captain was bringing a wealthy couple and their children, and for some reason, they had to stop here, whether it was bad storm activity or what have you. This wasn't their destination, but they had to stop here and anchor offshore. And what happened was when they anchored, I guess from the storm, the boat started to take on water. So the captain decides, I got to protect my passengers. So he prepares a ship, he prepares a rowboat, and he rows them ashore to the beach. Now, at the time, this building wasn't there, but this happens right where this building is. It was just a beach. It was just a undeveloped beach at the time. And sets them ashore, and he goes back to work on his boat. Now, little did he know that hiding in the dunes were a group of pirates. Now, this group of pirates proceeds to grab the family and hold them hostage, and quickly goes out and rows out to the boat to attack the boat. They kill the captain, and they start to pillage the boat and eventually set fire to the boat and burn it to the ground. Now, these people are seeing this happen while being captured by the pirates. You can imagine how that must feel, right? So they, at that time, so while this is happening, when the pirates that have been raiding come back, the family's father and mother try to pay off the pirates with whatever they have on them and say, take our money, take our jewels, take our whatever they want. Well, the pirates wanted more than that. A scuffle takes out. They wanted, the wife. They wanted to take the wife and the girl. A scuffle ends out, and they end up killing the parents, killing both of the parents, and the kids run off, trying to escape in the dunes. And the pirates begin to shoot them down as if they are shooting target practice. So a terrible scene that took place on this beach right here. And all five of them were murdered on the beach. And it is said that the ghosts of the three children are seen on the beach at times. And if they manifest, the surf will turn red, as if red with blood. So it's a very scary type of experience if this happens. If you happen to be there at night, you're on the beach, and you happen to see the three frightened spirits of these children who were murdered and saw their parents killed, the surf will turn red of blood. So pretty creepy experience there. Now, inside the building itself, Peter Shields ghost himself, Peter Shields. It's called the Peter Shields Inn, but his ghost himself is said to be there haunting it. That he never left. He's still there. He opens doors and closes doors constantly. Uh, no explanation as to why these doors are opening or closing. No wind, nothing. They just open and close. And then there's also an individual there by the name, a ghost of an individual by the name of Earl Shields. Now, Earl Shields is another unfortunate, tragic story. Earl Shields was the 15-year-old son of Peter Shields. And the story goes that one day he went out duck hunting against his parents' wishes. He and his friends went out duck hunting with shotguns, and they went off. And there's an article on this. There's an article on the death itself. They went out hunting, and on the way back, there was an accident where he was using the shotgun, and this is kind of bizarre to me, but he was using the shotgun to steady himself, kind of like a walking stick, as he got from the main boat to the rowboat to go to shore, wherever they were, from the marshes, and it went off and shot him and shattered his skull. A horrible death. And it said that his ghost, even though he didn't die there, he died in the marsh, made his way back to this building and is haunting it to this day. And he usually resides in the attic. That's where he seems to hang out. The very top, so people don't really see him too often, but he will come down, and the residents, the owner, or the people that work there seem to interact with him or see him more than anyone else does. So that's the Peter Shields Inn. The three children, by the way, that are on the surf that you see, as I mentioned, they're on the beach. They're sometimes seen in the building as well, which is interesting to me because there was no building there at the time, yet their spirits tend to migrate there from time to time, and people see them wandering around in the halls. So who knows? Very, very bizarre why that would happen. All right. Now, the last place that I'm going to mention, stop sharing that, is Congress Hall. Now, Congress Hall is a very recognizable place if you've been in Cape May at all. Hold on a second. It's huge. And it's the oldest standing hotel, the oldest place that has always been a hotel in Cape May. So let's launch. Here we go. There we go. Now, as you can see, it's pretty darn big. The pool and everything, and then it's kind of like an L shape, I guess, but it's pretty big. And they have a lot of events there too. In addition to being the largest hotel, they have a lot of events. So, pretty big place, pretty old place, built in 1816. So one of the older structures in the Cape. And the ghost activity here mainly comes from two children ghosts. Now, these two children ghosts, similar to the last story, the Peter Shields Inn, are said to have drowned. Well, these two kids are said to have drowned. Now, people say they see them wandering the halls at night, wearing 19th century gowns, like sleeping gowns, kind of like Scrooge, would wear that with the hat and the and the nightgown type of thing. And that they'll see them trying to open doors. They go from door to door, and that's what they do at night. They go from door to door trying to open doors, and people will hear their knobs trying to chain or try to open as if someone was trying to get in. They're locked because people lock their doors when they go at night, but they see the knobs moving. And it said that these children are just playing, going from door to door, seeing who can open the door. And it's said to be a sister and a brother The the girl is about 7 or 8, and the boy's about 5 or 6. And it is said that they drowned. They drowned in the surf while staying at the hotel. And the creepy part of this is that sometimes people see them on the beach as well. But when they see them on the beach, they'll see them gagging or throwing up seaweed, as a reenactment of how they died. They couldn't breathe, and the seaweed that they took in as they perished. So, kind of a disturbing sight to see. If you see that, you happen to see the children on the beach. Um, and most of the activity is on the third floor there. So, um, but there's plenty of other type of residual ghost activity in Congress Hall. Something that is that old, something that's from 1816, is bound to have a lot of people coming in and out of it over the years. So there's a lot of residual ghosts. And what I mean by residuals, not interactive ghosts. They're just, it's like watching a rerun of something that happened in the past. So people see a lot of that. People, spirits walking in, walking out, not interacting with people, going about their business as if you're not even there. So kind of interesting, something, and not that far fetched considering how old the building is and how many people have come there to stay over the many years that it was in operation. So that's it. Those are the 5 additional ghost hauntings of Cape May. I think the Peter Shields Inn is probably of this batch is probably the most interesting with the whole pirate story. Terrible deaths obviously do turn into ghosts at time. So hello, Baywatcher. I want to say hello to you. I didn't say hello to you, but Vincent, hello. How are you? Bobo, I don't think I said hello to you. Thank you for being here. Cheech, how are you? Good to see you. I think that's it. Deborah Roberts, good to see you. I'm glad to see you here. A whole bunch of people. Thank you guys for stopping in. So anyway, those are my ghost stories for this evening. Hope you enjoyed them. Osada, good to see you. Drinking the same thing I always drink. Same thing I always drink, which is the bourbon, and it's kind of like a whiskey sour with bourbon in it. Well, it has honey in it, oranges, and lemon. Yes, Tommy says hit the like button. Please do. Please hit the like button and plan a trip there. Yeah, it won't you listen. It's a fascinating place. You won't go wrong. Believe me, you will not go wrong there. It's a great place to be. Whether you like ghosts or don't like ghosts, it's a great place. And the book that I have written by this individual by the name of Craig McManus details all of the spots that he has found to be haunted. And there's a little map in here too in the book. Let me see, where is it? I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. I put it in front of you. This is a map of the place, a map of the sightings in his book throughout Cape May, where all the various, and we've talked about most of them. But as you can see, there's a lot there. He's got 24 sightings in here. We didn't talk about that many, but interesting stuff. I mean, just looking at the architecture itself, which is gorgeous, is worth the trip there. So, so Johnny is drinking some scotch, it looks like. Excellent. Mike F., hello, how are you? So that's what's going on, guys. I don't know what's happening, what your plans are for Memorial Day weekend. Hope everyone is enjoying themselves or plans to at least relax and enjoy the weekend. I don't have any plans other than to not be doing work, which is always a good thing. So, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people going to the shore. Gina, no, I have not. I have not taken a ghost tour there. So that's something that could be done very easily. There's plenty of them. That map I just showed was a do-it-yourself ghost tour type of thing. Follow this, but you can't go into all these places without the permission, obviously. But there was also, I wanted to share with you guys a paranormal experience that happened last weekend. This is in addition to our Cape May ghost tours. Last weekend, I had a bunch of friends over for a wine tasting, and we're all sitting around the dining room table, just chatting. We had tasted our wine, we had eaten dinner, and just shooting the shit, so to speak, chatting. And suddenly we hear a girl child's voice say good night, and all five of us heard the voice, and nobody claimed credit for it. Was it a phone? We all thought it was a phone. We thought it came from someone's phone, but no one seems to own up to it. So that was kind of creepy. Where did this child's voice come from? The disembodied child voice that says good night. And it was a pleasant voice. It was like good night. It was a very pleasant, like a young girl saying good night type of thing. Now, and in passing, we kind of like said, what was that? A little creepy, kind of bizarre. No one owning up to it. What could it be? Type of thing. And I've never had any paranormal experience in my house. Never had anything like that. So I said, if there's something going on here, one of you guys brought it here because I've never encountered anything like that. So we went into the kitchen. We're doing other things. We come back into the dining room, and on my friend Mike's chair, we find this, which is a hairpin with a little type of like diamond on the end of it, right? Creepy, right? Where did this come from? um, I asked my daughter, I called my daughter on the phone and said, and I actually took a picture of it and sent it to her and said, is this yours? It's not my wife's. Is this yours? And she said, I don't know. It doesn't look familiar. And where would it come from? It was sitting on the chair that Mike was sitting on. It was like laying on the chair that Mike was sitting on. And to me, this looks like a very old type of thing. Like you wouldn't see too many modern girls wearing this type of thing. It's hairpin with a little diamond jewelry on it. Bizarre, right? And then, so now we're freaked out. Where did that come from? Nobody knows. And then I didn't witness this because I went into the other room to do something, clean up the kitchen or whatever I was doing. The piano made a noise. I have a piano in my living room, and the piano was like beep, 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 beep. And I didn't hear it. I was washing dishes or whatever, but the other guys heard it. And nobody was in the room. So I was a little freaked out. We were all a little freaked out about this experience, but nothing's happened since. So I guess I'm right that whoever brought this, one of these guys brought this with them and took it back with them because nothing's happened since. But I did keep this hairpin as a souvenir or whatever to prove that it happened. Just really, really creepy, really, really creepy event that happened out of nowhere. Just happened out of nowhere. And saying, man, it wasn't scary. It was like, hello, good night, good night, Good night. Kind of like you could hear like the smile or the pleasantness in it. I don't know, Adam. I don't know. No one owned up to it to this day. No one's owning up to it. Johnny Child Ghosts freak you out. Yeah, yes, they do. Right. The concept is really creepy. Right. What do you think, Lenny? Was it one of your friends here? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, they could have gotten together and made up the piano thing because I didn't hear it. I didn't hear the piano thing, and none of them. I mean, it would take a lot of planning, Adam, to bring this with them, especially because none of them have daughters. So how would they? Where would they even get access to this? I don't know. Well, actually, one of them has a daughter, but the others do not, and I don't know. Bizarre, bizarre stuff. And we were all sitting at that table when that voice said good night. All heard it. We all heard it simultaneously. So pretty interesting stuff. And yeah, so that's my creepy story for the day. My personal creepy story, in addition to our Cape May stories. And also, by the way, I know some of you guys watch Vinny Bracco. Vinny texted me before, said that he is in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, and he's staying at a haunted hotel, a hotel that is said to be haunted. And if he has any type of experience, he's going to come back and tell us about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing if he has any encounters while he's in Jim Thorpe, PA. And Jim Thorpe, PA is I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a very old, like uh, small industrial town, and has a lot of the old structures there. It's a pretty cool location. They have a lot of festivals there and events. All right, so Mike, after you found an envelope addressed to your house with the original owner's name on it and a postmark of 1962. Wow. Wow, that's really creepy. Now, you were doing construction though, right? I mean, I think you had to have construction done because of mold. Maybe something was like in the walls or something. It fell out. That is oh, this isn't recently. Oh, okay. All right. You found it in 2020. Oh, 2002. Okay. This isn't recently. Okay. Yeah, Gina, he promised me that he would come on and tell any experience he has. Fiend do, I can't believe you're up. Do you know what time it is? It's past your bedtime, my friend. Oh, Bobo, you found cash. Well, that's a good thing to find in the wall. I'm not finding any cash here. I wish. Fiend do, what is happening, my friend? I missed your show today. You gotta go back to your consistency in terms of you're consistent. You need to go back to being consistent, as Stiggs would say, because I don't know. I never know what time you're on, and I was working. Okay, of course, and it's always difficult for me to go on. But I wanted to see if Mr. Latona would stop by, but there's always tomorrow for that. Hey, Cheech. I know you. I know you said that you go there every year. So I guess you did not encounter anything in Shields. In Shields, otherwise you'd say something about it, right? Yes, arm distance. Mr. Latona is a good guy. What time is it? Wow, it's almost 10 o'clock already. Whoa! Boy, does time fly when you're telling a ghost story. I think Theme Dude does believe in ghosts. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he does. But anyway, so that's what's happening. And I think I'm going to wrap things up. I hope everyone enjoyed the stories, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Remember those that made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Never forget, lest we forget. So fly your flags. Remember. And doesn't mean not to celebrate. I don't mean to mean that at all. A lot of people tend to get preachy. I just say remember. Remember the sacrifice. That's what the holiday's all about. Remember the sacrifice that these brave men and women did for us, you know? And the least we could do is think about them, on this holiday. So please do that and enjoy your families and friends. That's what life is all about. And I'll be back here again next Friday. You can count on it. And until then, I will say stay scared and press the like button, please. Help me out. Help me get this thing out there. The more likes you get, it seems the more it gets out there these days. I don't know. Some people believe that, some people don't. I tend to believe it because I look at the shows that have the most views and they have the most likes. So it must mean something. But anyway, have a great night, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of my little ghost storytelling activity. Because if you're not there, who am I telling a story to? You need someone to tell the story to, right, Lenny? I could tell it to Lenny, I guess, but that's kind of quiet. I'm not going to get any feedback. Anyway, God bless you. Have a great weekend. Let's blow out our candles as always.